So good to see all you out here. And to be, now the mic, that might be better, okay? You young people, we appreciate you being here. You have done outstanding in your field. We're going to have the invocation first, and that would be the Reverend Ladarius Hood, pastor of Bethlehem Missionary Baptist Church. Will you come forward? Is that mic on?
You will flip that, just make sure it's on.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we come now thanking you, O God. Dear God, we thank you for allowing us to see another day. Dear God, we thank you for having your protective arms around us, dear God, and protecting us throughout the night. Dear God, we come right now thanking you, dear God. Thank you for this Board of Commissioners, oh God. We ask that you would guide them and lead them, oh God. Touch the department heads, oh God. Continue to use them in a mighty way. Dear God, I ask that you would bless everyone that's here under the sound of my voice, dear God. Continue to lead them and guide them and bless them, oh God. Dear God, we ask that you would continue to bless this young ball team, oh God. Continue to give them strength and lead them in the way that you would have them to go. And dear God, we ask that you would just lead this city. Dear God, we ask that you would just touch the heads of this city, that we continue to grow together. Teach us to love one another as you love us. All these blessings we ask in your darling Son, in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Will you rise for the pledge to the flag, and I'll ask Commissioner Reed to please lead us.
Salute. I'll pledge allegiance.
Thank you. May be seated.
Get that chair.
We have several public comments, and I will ask you to hold it to 3 minutes each, please. First is Ms. Jennifer Davidson. She is the coordinator with Russell County Home Extension.
Good morning. I just wanted to let everybody know that we've got several summer and fall programs that we're offering through the Cooperative Extension Office. Our physical building is located right across from the Judicial Center in the courthouse annex. We've got a tomato program that's happening at the end of this month. We're doing some canning programs right now. And then the big thing that we're offering is the Master Gardener program this fall, which is a volunteer training program where we give you knowledge and then you promise to give back community service to make Russell County better. So if anybody's interested, they can contact the Cooperative Extension Office. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Okay. And next is Mr. Billy Deal.
Yes, I'm here about taxation without representation. We have
Mr.
been
Deal.
annexed in.
Mr. Deal, would you come down to the microphone for the recording, please? Thank you.
Good morning, all.
Good morning.
Like she said, my name is Billy Deal. I'm here about taxation without representation. We have been annexed in. We're paying city taxes. We have no rights to the city whatsoever. We can't vote in the city. The fire department will not work with us. And if we call the Phoenix City Police, I can call the county. After I call them, the county can be there. They fill out the report and go on before the city ever gets there. And we have no right to vote. If we cut limbs, put it out beside the road, they won't pick it up. All the privileges that the city's got, we have none. Street lights, I pay for my own street light. I have no privileges at all that the people who live in the city pay city taxes got, but yet I'm paying city taxes. And
Where do you live? Excuse me, Mr. Deal.
I live in Ladonia on Newberry Drive, 34 Newberry Drive.
You're in the police jurisdiction.
Yeah, that's what they were telling me.
Now,
That's the reason they're taking my money, and
did you ask to be annexed in?
no, ma'am. I'm against it 100%. I wasn't even told I'd been annexed in. I found out when I come down to retag my trucks I got, and I'm paying these. I said, why am I paying that percentage of tax?
Mr.
Well, you
Deal,
was annexed in.
let me clarify things.
He's not annexed.
A point here before the commission. You have not been annexed in. Annexation has put you into police jurisdiction, which allows the city to collect taxes. So we'll all understand, he has not been annexed in without his will. He's in the police jurisdiction. He didn't ask for that, but he got it by state law. I'm sorry, go ahead.
And Mr. Deal, you're preaching to the choir. I mean, we all agree with you, I think, and we've tried on numerous occasions to pull that police jurisdiction back to the city limits, but we've always failed.
Well, say they're taking money away from our Russell County guys, and they do an outstanding job. I've never had a problem out of Russell County. I mean-
We understand.
I mean, you know, why should I have to pay taxes for something I don't agree with? And I disagree with 100%, and if I need to, I'll get a petition up and get it signed. We need to get the city off our road. We don't want them out there. We didn't ask for them to be out there, and I don't believe in paying taxes out when I can't. All right, they want me to pay city taxes, put it in law, I can vote, and I can have every privilege that the city got, I won't complain. Okay?
So how long have you lived there?
I've been there for 30 years.
30 years.
Yep.
But this annexation just happened. to
Yeah,
bring
it
them
just happened. They just, wham, bam, they knocked us in the head and said, well, you're taking your money, whether you like it or not.
Well, the way we understand it, Mr. Deal, is it's going to have to be a constitutional amendment to make anything change on this. So we don't have the power to do that, but the legislators do. They have the power to put it on the ballot for the people to vote on. So we get a lot of these complaints, and we have since the mid-90s when it started moving, the police jurisdiction in Ladonia.
Well,
So-
can you get with a lawmaker or whoever?
Oh, yeah,
and
we've
give
had
them
Well,
something?
the thing about it, and what we run against every time we try it, is normally the city of Phoenix City opposes it, and they have the same legislators we got. So the legislators just don't do anything. They just leave it like this.
I need their job, man. I'd like to get paid to do nothing. But, anyway, and another thing too, talking about the trash, I know I do a lot of, help Dexter Dykes out a whole lot. We bring a lot of dirt off that hill down off Seal Road. There's a guy that lives down there who works construction over in Columbus and everywhere. I actually fired him one day to make sure that's what he was doing. I seen him leave the house. I fired him. He brings a load of stuff that he tore out, carpet and wood and everything, back down here at Seal Road and dumps it out in front of his house. Then the city comes along, picks it up and carries it. There's nothing for him. Now, that's my tax dollars definitely going to waste. And, you know, I just appreciate any help you guys can give me.
Have
I
you
mean,
thought
know,
about going to the city and addressing them?
I went and said it. They told me what, nothing I could do.
Okay.
They
In
told
other
you
words,
the
I'm just a
truth, too.
peon in the ocean and, you know, I don't count for nothing.
You're just a
except my money.
taxpayer.
Yeah.
Well, we feel your pain. Know that.
And if I could just say, I can't help with the tax issue, but you can always still call us and we'll respond to you.
Yes, sir. Ain't no doubt about that. You guys are good, and I appreciate it. I really appreciate the county, because y'all do an outstanding job. Tim Pugh's my commissioner. I appreciate him and what he does, and all you got, I know you're taking care of your people, and I thank you very much.
Thank you for stepping up and letting us hear.
He's never been shy.
Okay. Next, we have Mr. Leroy Davis.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Madam Chairman, County Administrator, and County Attorney. I come before you today because I wanted to give you a CPR report, which is a consolidated post report, to let you know what the American Legion is doing in the community. You can call it a state of the post report, so that you'll know that when we're doing something, we're really utilizing the funds that we raise. As you know, we had a sequestration last year, probably gonna have it again, so we didn't do as good as we normally do. But we hopefully there won't be a sequestration, and we can get back to raising the kind of funds that we're used to raising. To start out, we support 3 high schools in the county, which is Russell County High School. Well, actually, we support all the schools in the county. We support Central High School. We support Smith Station High School. And Glenwood, we try to get them into our different oratorical contests. We also support Tuskegee University, Air Force ROTC, Army, Navy, and Marine Corps ROTC. We buy awards for all of those units, which really gets up in the cost when you talk about the awards that we have to purchase, and we also present them at the award banquets. This year, past year, our year ends in July, a new year begins July 1st, rather. So this past year, we raised $122,349. Of that, we spent over $32,000 in charities, from giving to the schools or the different programs. $11,325 of that went to Tuskegee VA Medical Center to take care of hospitalized veterans. And we could break it down even further, but with 3 minutes, I wouldn't have enough time. But our major programs in the American Legion is veterans and veterans families first, then children and youth program. We cannot run a children and youth program in any community without taking care of all of the children. So we don't exclude a child because their father is not a veteran. As you know, we put on a big Halloween party every year to keep the kids off the street. They come to the post. We have the best haunted house you'll ever see. We have it there. And when the kids leave, we make sure each family gets a pie and each child get a bag of candy so they don't have to go out and knock on anybody's door and trick or treat. They trick or treat right there at the post. We do a Christmas party also every year, and we donate to different charities, especially when it comes to scholarships and children program. We donate to the high school cheerleading, football, basketball program of all of our schools and everything. And right now, I just started a new program, and I solicited all of the different veterans organizations in the Chattahoochee Valley. It's about 20 of them, but only 12 of them came in with me. And I started this program because I figured we need, with the sequester, we need one way to raise funds to take care of all the veterans organizations. And it also gets us to communicating with each other so we don't all put money at the same place all the time. So we call it the Chattahoochee Valley Veterans Organization. And we're having our first annual Veterans Banquet Friday, November the 13th, which will be the day before the parade. Being that we expect it to be so big, we already rented the Trade Center. General Miller, the commanding general of Fort Benning, will be the guest speaker. We're planning on low turnout is 600 people, high turnout is 1,000 people. But we are doing this. We've gotten with Mayor Lowe and Mayor Tomlinson, and we've asked them to pay for this meal for veterans. And and what I mean when I say pay is they go out, each one of them have been charged, the axe to go out in their community and get one millionaire to pay half the cost, and they pay the cost. The cost is expected to be right at $20,000 for the meal. And then all of the funds from the meal will be divided amongst those 12 organizations so that they can continue their fund, taking care of their scholarship program and everything of the nature like that. And I just wanted to give you a report, and if you want an even more detailed report, you can see me and I'll get it 3 minutes. I can't give you a detailed report. But I wanted to let you know that we are still working hard in the community. And 122,000, it seemed like a lot, but normally before sequestration, we was doing over 200,000 a year in fundraising and stuff. But now we've been cut back because people don't have money, people have lost jobs, so our bingo has went down. So we're hoping that it'll get back up.
Thank you so much. We
Thank you.
appreciate the work you do for the veterans. Next is Mr. Joseph Williams.
Oh, I'm sorry, I just signed the book. I had nothing to say.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for coming.
And you want to make sure you was
Checking in.
Elected official want to know we were here.
And we have Mr. George Alexander. Well, we welcome y'all anytime.
Sign the guest
It's your
book.
government. Okay. I want to say thank you to the media, to cable TV. They're always prompt to be here and film our meeting, and also the Citizen News that writes the many articles that we have. We appreciate their community efforts. Madam Administrator. will you
Madam
call
Chairman,
the roll?
excuse me, Madam Chairman,
Yes.
excuse me, we also have Columbus Time here also this morning. Columbus Time newspaper. Ms. G sitting over there. You want to recognize her?
Yes, I didn't see you come in. And we do have some special guests. We have Colonel Gary Jones this morning. He's going to give us a report on what's happening at Fort Benning. And we do appreciate anytime guests want to come, you're welcome.
District 1, Lee.
Present.
District 2, Pugh.
Present.
District 3, Martin.
Yes, here.
District 4, Reed.
Here.
District 5, Epps.
Here.
District 6, Corbett.
Here.
District 7, Scrooge.
Here.
We've established a quorum, Madam Chair.
Okay. And next is our minutes of the previous meeting, July 8th. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
A second, please.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Reed. All right, will you poll the commission?
District 1, Lee.
Yes.
District 2, Pugh.
Yes.
District 3, Martin.
Yes.
District 4, Reed.
Yes.
District 5, Epps.
Yes.
District 6, Corbett.
Abstained, absent.
District 7, Scrooge.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Under our proclamations and resolutions, we have these fine young ladies and their sponsors. We have something special for them. Commissioner Corbett will do that, and we're going to move y'all to the front of that. So if you'll take over, Commissioner Corbett.
Well, actually, I had asked that, put this under Commissioner Reed, but he keeps bouncing it back to me.
Lee.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Lee. I can't believe I did that to you.
You
You have every right to slap me that. So,
Let me go ahead, Chance, and
Yeah,
then I'll
please do.
turn it back to you.
Yeah.
Commissioner Corbett called me, I guess 10, 12 days ago and informed me of this because, I hadn't read anything about it, didn't know anything about it. He happened to have a niece that plays on the team, so he knew about it. And he asked me, about doing a proclamation for this achievement. And I said, yes, that'd be great. And he said, well, now why don't I just give it to you because I'm always doing stuff. And I said, no, Chance, you just do it. It was your idea. You found out about it. I'm not taking credit for something you did. So, Commissioner Corbett, just go ahead.
as I said on Monday night, I was trying to give him, because he doesn't ever have an agenda item on here, but, and it's being North Phoenix City. The 10U Little League, the All-Stars, Ms. Horn's going to read a proclamation for their achievements and what they've achieved. And they're getting prepared to play in the Nationals. They were recognized by the city of Phoenix City last night. So we just appreciate them taking the time to come and letting the county commission, which Phoenix City being in Russell County, recognize you for your accomplishments, and appreciate the parents and everyone else coming too. So we're going to present each player with a copy of the proclamation. And Ms. Horn is going to get the pleasure of actually reading it out loud. So, thank you.
The Russell County Commission proclamation. Whereas the 2015 Phoenix City 10U All-Star Team is comprised of young ladies that live in and around Russell County. And whereas the team members of 2015 Phoenix City 10U All-Star Team were chosen for their outstanding accomplishments during the 2015 regular session to represent Phoenix City, which is located in Russell County, Alabama. And whereas as a team, the 2000 Phoenix City 10U All-Star Team has gone undefeated, thereby winning the pre-area, area, and state title in June 2015. And whereas from July 27, 2015 to August 2nd, 2015, the 2015 Phoenix City 10U All-Star Team, having earned a coveted spot in history, is scheduled to play in the Nationals in Foley, Alabama. And whereas coached by Wade Carden and Sidney Murray, the 2015 Phoenix City 10U All-Star Team is comprised of team members Libby Miles, Maddie Carden, Bailey Davis, Gracie Lopez, Summer James, Madison Adderhold, Dakota Wood, McKinnon Howard, Grayson Corbett, Brianna Murray, Cannon Wells, and Rachel Whittemer. And therefore we, the elected members of the Russell County Commission, hereby proclaim our appreciation and recognition for the outstanding accomplishments of the 2015 Phoenix City 10U All-Star Team, and wish them good luck as they represent Phoenix City and Russell County in the Nationals, signed by the County Commission.
And Rachel, she was 99% good. It's Whitmer, right?
Whitmer,
So,
I'm
sorry about that.
I apologize.
Ladies, you do us proud, and I know you are at the National.
Is the coach here?
Yes, of course.
Is the coach here?
Are the coaches here? They're at their jobs.
They gotta work. Do these have the names on them? So they're gonna have to swap them back when they oh, okay.
Okay, when do y'all go? When is it?
right, good luck,
Let's
y'all.
give them another hand.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
while they're exiting, I am aware of this one, that Phoenix City had two Little League teams playing each other
That's right.
for the state championship last night,
I saw that last night.
with the winner going to the regional playing in Georgia, and so I'm sure we'll be honoring them sometimes in the future. So when you got two teams playing each other, decide who goes to the regionals, you know you're a winner either way. So that did happen. So Commissioner Corbett, kind of stay on top of that one too.
I'm gonna let that one be yours.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you.
Now we will go to the recognition of achievement of David Martin and Mr. Bob Franklin.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
I don't know if David's achievement is as great as theirs or not, but it's pretty
I don't
good.
think it can compare.
No comparison. He's outnumbered for sure. The Alabama Association of Emergency Managers has a certification program, and the Volunteer Evaluation Committee administers that program, and they're guided by the Board of Directors. David submitted his qualifications to that board for his intermediate level certification. In order to get that, he had to complete 100 hours of optional training and 9 required classes for a total of 650 hours of training. In addition to, he had to also complete his basic requirements. So I'd just like to, David, come down and give him this
Yes.
He also, Bob, he also had to do his job during all that time too.
Yes, sir, he
didn't
did. They most certainly did. I want to congratulate him.
David,
David,
photo op.
let me say that his dedication to this job is what really makes this county a success.
Yes.
And Madam Chair, I'd like to say as well, being involved in that program for years, that is not a small accomplishment. That takes a lot to get that, so congratulations, David.
Thank you. And next, we have a posthumous proclamation on behalf of Commissioner Corbett is going to present that to the family of Mr. William Land.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It is with regret that the commission, I think we have actually told each commissioner, and they know that Mr. William Land, who was very involved in the community with Cottonton Fire Department, with the Fort Mitchell Water System, and so many other things, including committees and other things. Some of us who grew up in the community, in the fire department, and through the public safety knew Mr. Land even more than others did, but he did pass away a couple of weeks ago now in a vehicle accident, and we just wanted to take the time as a commission and as the department heads that work with him side by side to ask the family to come so that we can present the family with a proclamation showing our appreciation for all that he did for the community. So if the family, if you'll come down to the front, please.
The Russell County Commission proclamation. Whereas Mr. William Bryan Land was a lifelong resident of Russell County, Alabama. Whereas in 1943, at a young age, Mr. William Bryan Land entered into the United States Army and served in 4 major campaigns, including the Battle of the Bulge and the Rhineland. And whereas in 1975, Mr. Bryan Land was a founding member of the Cottonton Volunteer Fire Department, where he was later appointed as fire chief and then president of the board of directors, where he served until his untimely death. And whereas in 1988, Mr. William Bryan Land was elected to the board and appointed treasurer of the Fort Mitchell Water System, where he continued to serve until his untimely death. And whereas Mr. William Bryan Land served as a member and held several leadership roles in the Russell County Volunteer Firefighters Association. And whereas Mr. William Bryan Land was a devoted family man and showed his kindness and love for his family and others on a daily basis, to include serving as a deacon at the Cottonton Baptist Church. And whereas without the promise of payment, reward, or personal gain, Mr. William Bryan Land for many years placed the needs of others as his priority and worked with a great group of Russell County citizens responding to calls for service and remained active in his community. And therefore, we, the elected members of the Russell County Commission, hereby proclaim that it is our privilege and honor to approve this posthumous proclamation in an honest effort to recognize the great selfless service of such an outstanding citizen of Russell County, and we recognize that the Cottonton community and Russell County as a whole will forever benefit from his tireless actions of Mr. William Bryan Land, signed this day by the Russell County Commission.
Madam Chair, I wanted to mention real quick that we have also volunteer fire departments. I asked Mr. Jenkins, he's the president of the association, and the sheriff to come down. And we've also got Fort Mitchell and other departments here to represent Crawford, to represent their appreciation as well.
I did want to mention too that the chief from Cottonton was going to be here today, but as we all know, work sometimes takes over our lives. She was unable to make it. Something came up at work this morning. She wasn't. We actually have copies as well for y'all. So, you need more or anything, so thank y'all so much. Appreciate it.
Under discussion items, we're privileged to have Colonel Dare Jones here. He's Executive Vice President of Military Affairs, Columbus, Georgia, and the Valley Partnership. And we've all getting bad news all the time. So I just thought we need to hear from our military, and they're right here. They are our neighbors. Thank you. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the commission, Madam County Administrator, and Mr. County Attorney. Thank you for the opportunity to be here today to bring you up to date on what's happening at Fort Benning and to try to take away the myth and the rumor and to give you facts of what's really occurring. During this process, you've probably noticed you you've not heard anything from Fort Benning. That's because this has been a Department of Army decision, not a Fort Benning decision. And so they provided information, we provided information and so forth. So during this entire process, it's not because Fort Benning did not want to be involved, they had no requirement. The first thing is, on a day-to-day basis, there's about 41,000 folks come to work out at Fort Benning and call it home, and that doesn't include the 9,000 to 10,000 that are there training every day. Is unique in the sense that Fort Benning, once you look at about a 14-county area, supports in excess of 208,000 people on a daily basis. A lot of rumors, and people misuse the term sequestration, drawdown, BRAC, and so forth and so on. What I wanted to do today is lay out this format to explain what each is. In the very top, phase one that's occurred, that will happen. That's not up for debate. That's not up for discussion. The Department of Defense was cut $487 billion. The Army will draw down to $490,000 by the end of September of this year. That's not for dialogue. That will occur. That was phase one. During that 80,000 drawdown, Fort Benning actually grew. When 13 brigades were taken out of the military inventory, the Army inventory, Fort Benning actually grew. And this body played a significant role during that time because we were able to go forward and represent you in Washington and the Department of Defense officials, and we were able to go and in fact have a growth at Fort Benning. The second phase of 120,000 drawdown that the Army announced back in 2011 was 40,000. Now, numbers don't lie, but you have to make sure you ask the right question. Fort Benning, it has a loss of about 3,402 spaces. And they cut 40,000. They said, Lord, that's a disproportionate share. But remember, it's 120,000 that we've had to fight, so that you have slightly over 2% of Fort Benning when you look at $120,000, 120 person cut, and that they go and they're impacted by 3,402. Every job lost is bad. That's not good. But I want to make sure everyone keeps in perspective what's occurring, and it wasn't on just, you don't look just at phase 2, because phase 1 was the 80,000 piece of 120,000, and phase 2 was a 40,000 piece of 120,000, of which that 120,000 was always the mark and the goal. Now, we'll go into more detail on the drawdown in just a minute. Phase 3 is sequestration. Sequestration, if we do not stop sequestration, if we do not get the defense budget caps released, on 1 October of this year, sequestration will go into effect. And let me put things in perspective. If your Army, our Army, has drawn down 120,000 people based on Department of Defense being cut $500 billion or $487 billion, what will happen to our Army when the Defense Department is cut $500 billion more? You can imagine the devastation that will occur. And then some issues come up saying, will there be a BRAC, won't there be a BRAC? For the first time, there is a clear indicator that BRAC is in the future. And it was in the defense budget this time, and the verbiage allowed the services, all the services, to go for the first time and pull a more accurate inventory of their facilities, because the facilities being looked at and said excess was based on BRAC 2005 information. Prior to FY16 that goes in effect on 1 October of this year, the Army, the Air Force, the Navy, and so forth could not even do an inventory because that would be perceived as BRAC planning. It was precluded. But that is what's occurring, and you can see confusion because people will use the term sequestration really when it doesn't apply there. Every circle up there is a brigade that will be out of the inventory no later than 30 September of this year. The square areas, you see 2 square areas, one over Fort Benning, and on your left there is over Alaska. You see where a brigade was identified to go, but it left the infantry battalion task force, and we'll talk more about that in time. But this shows that it's not smoke and mirrors, that it's reality and units are going away. Right now, the logical question comes out saying, my God, the threat is more and more and more, and our Army is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Please know that the Army, if it had a choice, would still be at 570,000 people. The size of the Army today has nothing to do with national defense strategy. It has everything to do with the Budget Act of 2011. It's driven by budget, not national strategy. The Chief of Staff of the Army so stated that when he agreed to draw the Army down to 490, that was established based on a set of parameters that exist in the world. Those parameters have completely changed now, and he wonders if 490 would be enough. Because obviously the greatest threat people see today is Russia. You have ISIS. You have issues going on in both Iraq and Afghanistan. So there's a significant amount of increased turbulence in the world itself. So that's usually a question, how can you have your Army draw down when the threat's greater? And you will have some of our elected representatives in Washington say, Army, how can you do this? And the Army's answer is very simple, I have no choice. You have a law in effect that says you only give me this much money, so this is the size Army I can afford. I must adhere to the law of the land. This is what's really happening out there at Fort Benning. And the first thing is, the 3rd Brigade is almost 4,500 folks. They cut 3,402 positions, and we're going to go back to that because you really have to read the Army documents. And that's what I do. My job is to read the Army documents, not you, but it's my responsibility to report back to elected leadership so that you know what's going on. When they say in the region that we'll lose in salaries, you can see that, call that buying power of 198 million. In sales, you can see that 229. But we were able to retain an infantry battalion task force. And you say, well, how can you say you did that? I can do that because we had individuals like Congressman Rogers, Congressman Bishop, Congressman Westmoreland. We had Senator Isaacson, we had Senator Perdue. We had them make calls on the Secretary of the Army multiple times and the Chief of Staff of the Army. And we even went and created a letter that both Georgia senators signed, Congressman Rogers, and 11 U.S. representatives from the state of Georgia signed that went into the Secretary of the Army's office. Keeping in mind the final decision is established not by an elected representative, but by a political appointee. And that's the reason, that's where we have to target our efforts. Then when we go and say, well, okay, you retained a infantry battalion task force, what does that really mean? It says, okay, we retained in this area 49 million in buying power and 43 million in sales, but even more important, what we didn't lose is a population. We didn't lose to about 3,600 people that would have gone if the entire brigade would have gone away. Because when you use the Army's formulas and the Army's rationale, not Gary Jones's, not Chamber of Commerce, not Valley Partnership, not any of that, but it comes out with their formulas that basically, when you look at the soldiers and you look at the jobs that are going to stay here because those soldiers are going to stay here, it comes out to about 3,600 people. But what I really want to do is I want to focus on that positions cut. They always have a statement, say numbers don't lie, you just have to make sure you ask the right question. And the right question is, oh, so they went out and cut 3,402 people. No, they didn't. They cut 3,402 spaces or positions. You had one battalion that was being formed that never formed. That was 1,000 people. So end result is when you look at this region and you look at the impact today in this region, that's 1,000 folks that won't be leaving because they were never here. And so you can see that the projected losses that exist up there under salaries and sales, you can reduce that by 1/3. Because that's reality of what's going to happen to this region. Now, what's really important is when you look into it and you read all the documents, and people didn't see this, but the reality is Bennings Martin Army Community Hospital is having a plus up in civilians. And basically, we're in the process of having our senior elected leadership in Washington, our senators and our congressmen in Washington, are negotiating literally every day. And it was even before the announcement that said we would like to receive about $12 to $14 million a year for about 4 years for the purpose to hire additional defense contractors. And that lessens the impact. And those focuses will go on research and development under an official name of Capabilities Development Integration Directorate. That's a mouthful. It says that's the Research and Development Center for Fort Benning right there. And also Range Control Operations. So representing this region, we go and we're out there fighting to go get, saying, okay, I'm losing soldiers. Well, let me hire defense contractors to come in there and have them work and bring them into the area and lessen our impact. Now, let's get personal about this. Let's talk about what is the implication and if sequestration kicks into effect, what does that really mean? Because let's get personal. Let's get it down to Russell County. And when you look at Army data and you look and you say your employed labor force and I rounded off, and I went to the census data, it's 13,000. And from there, I came up with the median household income, and I looked at that number of folks, and they bring in basically about $18 million a year. When you look at the ratio that what we say is the number of soldiers and the number of civilians out there, you come up with about a mean of 45%. What all that means is you have the potential, if we don't stop sequestration, to have buying power and sales, or salaries with income and buying power reduced almost $8 million a year in Russell County. And that does not include Phoenix City. That's in Russell County, because we separated that as a whole issue. So I was doing that because I wanted you to let it become personal on what sequestration is. This is how you can fight. This is how you can fight sequestration. If you go to that site, basically, if you just go on the internet and you type in growbenning.com, it's going to take you to a site. At that site, it's going to give you a background, it's going to be giving you what's happening, it's tell you where to go, but even more importantly, it's going to have a place where you can sign a petition. And that sign a petition consists of you typing in your name and typing in your email address and logging in. That will go to every elected leader from Alabama and Georgia and Washington. That goes to every one of them. We kicked that thing off. We have over 1,400 signatures already, and it literally is exploding. Now, I understand this body is restricted. You can't put that site up there because you receive federal funds. And so you can't go put a site up like that. But I would strongly encourage you, as you deal with your constituents and you deal with businesses, that you say, are you up there doing it? Also, if you have your own face page, you can surely put it up on your own face page and go in and sign in and do it. But I completely understand where this county as a body would not in fact place this on a county, and thus I'm not asking that. What I'd like to leave it with at this point is, if you look outside, you don't see any poles or you don't see any steel rods because the sky is not falling. Because the reality is that I always want to make sure that you hear the bad news, the good news, and the ugly news. And the bad news is that we're probably going to be able to cut about 2,400 people, and that's going to impact families. The good news is that we've been able to retain an infantry battalion task force, and it's critical that infantry battalion task force has been kept in only 2 brigades of 15 taken out of the inventory. Only 2 brigades of the 15 taken out of the inventory have had a unit remain, because when you read all the documents, it says in there, and this battalion task force is designed so that, quote, if financial conditions improve, it has expandability potential. Translated as Army talk for, we can grow it into another brigade if things get better. And all these are things that we worked, because I will tell you, Gary Jones didn't have a thing to do with it. But I was honored to work with a lot of great folks that are in the positions of influence that went and were able to influence the final decision making. So I just thank you for the time. This entity is not part of the Valley Partnership from a pure economic development perspective. But for areas of defense transformation, I go back to the original resolution that this body established for the joint land use study and said a level of cooperation. I will continue to work with this county unless you so dictate and direct I not do so. Because I really believe that from a defense transformation perspective and Fort Benning perspective, it's very important that we ensure that Russell County is always at the table. Pending your questions, I thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Colonel Jones. And you are our link to Fort Benning, and the information is really invaluable. We thank you so much. And we hope this sequestration will have a positive turnaround for us.
Will everybody put that on their site?
Yes.
it in a card and letter. It can all be done electronically.
Oh, okay, thank you. Now we move to our business items. First off is the CVCC voting precinct, and we have probate judge assistant, Ms. Dorotha.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for allowing me to speak on behalf of Judge Harden in reference to the CVCC voting precinct. We received a call last Thursday from Dr. Valerie Richardson from CVCC informing us that it is okay for the voting to be moved back to the CVCC campus from the Troy campus. Lines in District 6 will be discussed in a separate meeting. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dorotha. You don't have any questions for?
We need a vote to
Yeah, I was just
officially move that.
reading the minutes, it appears that we need to approve that. Is that right? So I'd make the motion that we approve moving it to CVCC from the previous location.
Second.
Okay, and we have a second. Will you poll the commission?
District 1 Lee?
Yes.
District 2 Pugh?
Yes.
District 3 Martin?
Yes.
District 4 Reed?
Yes.
District 5 F? Yes. District 6 Corbett?
Yes.
District 7 Street?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Yeah, see,
Next
now
is-
since we've done that, then they can work on moving lines and all that stuff. Before we approve that, we couldn't really do that. That's why we had to vote.
Thank you, Commissioner Lee. Next is the
Madam
ambulance.
Chair, just before we move on, we
Oh.
had talked about doing a voting center at CVC so that Commissioner Corbett and my voters would be able to travel. They could just continue to go there. And if it's all right, I'll get with Judge Harding to see about doing that and bring it back in the next meeting.
And just so the history on that, we redistricted since the last commission election, and it would put people driving further than they had driven in the past, so,
Right,
okay.
thank you. Okay. Need to poll the commission?
We're here.
No.
Yes, ma'am.
I got off track there. Ambulance and the sheriff's substation, the bid date, Mr. Bill Friend.
I'll be glad to handle it, Madam Chair.
Okay.
As you heard Monday evening, due to some delays in the planning stages, I'm requesting at this time to change the bid opening date, which we will re-advertise this to August 21st at 1 p.m. And this is for the proposed ambulance building that the commission is approving.
So move, Madam Chair.
I second, Madam Chairman.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions, comments? Hearing none, will you poll the commission?
We got you. District 1 Lee?
Yes.
District 2 Pugh?
Yes.
District 3 Martin?
Yes.
District 4 Reed?
Yes.
District 5 F?
Yes.
District 6 Corbett?
Yes.
District 7 Scrooge?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Okay, thank you. Crawford Lodge Handicap Pad, Mr. Bill Friend.
Morning, Madam Chair.
Good morning.
Monday evening, I came up with, mentioned that the Masonic Lodge, once it was being, all the work was being done on it, the pad for the handicap was kind of overlooked. It's something that is a requirement. It is federal and state law that they do have one. It has to be put up out there. It was just an oversight during the construction or the upgrade period. I received 4 estimates, which you should have in your packet. And at this time, I'm requesting that the commission authorize us to get this pad put in, because it is something that, down the line, the fines will sure exceed what the cost is to take care of this.
Madam Chair, a motion to approve.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Discussion, Madam Chair?
Yes.
Thank you for all the work you've done on this bill. I just want to correct one thing. It wasn't an oversight necessarily. We've been discussing this back even when the ramp was being constructed, that
Yes,
this needed to take place. So an oversight per se, funding issue at the time might be a better, more accurate thing. It's been needed the whole time, so thanks for your work on it.
Okay.
Madam Chair, where is the money coming from?
We already had it budgeted.
It's in your budget?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes, ma'am. We checked yesterday.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner.
District 1 Lee?
Yes.
District 2 Pugh?
Yes.
District 3 Martin?
Yes.
District 4 Reed?
Yes.
District 5 L?
Yes.
District 6 Corbett?
Yes.
District 7 Scrivens?
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Next, Commissioner Epps has information on an employment contract.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. This is something that I really have given a lot of thought to, and in traveling to NACO and sharing with other commissioners and discussion, roundtable discussion, I thought that we as a commissioners not really is protecting our investment. So I wanted the commissioners to read the contract that the administrator was previously under, and I would like to ask, and I'm sorry I wasn't here on Monday, but have all of you all had the opportunity to read the contract? Okay. And in the form of a motion, I would like to ask that we approve the contract for our administration for a 5-year period, because that is protecting us as a whole. I listen to others, and they invest in employees and get them school and send them to school and get the investment, and then they walk off the job. So we would not want that to happen here at Russell County, and our administrator really have kept us above the water, even during the time of when everyone else was going through hard times. Russell County had stayed above the water, and it was all because of our administrator who was a good budgeting person and had the county at heart. So in the form of a motion, I would like to ask the commissioner that we will put our administrator under a 5-year contract.
I second, Madam Chairman.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. It's discussion times.
Madam Chairman, I just want to say this at this time. I think Ms. Horn had done an outstanding job, especially with the department head, and especially with the budget. And I'd like to commend that. It's a lot of hard work goes into her job. And so I just want you to know that we appreciate everything you do for the Russell County Commission.
I'd like to say there's probably less discussion on this than there's ever been, and just, Ms. Horn, don't forget who trained you how to do that budget.
Madam Chairman,
Thank you, Commissioner.
Madam Chairman, I don't know what to do now since Judge Lady.
Hey, I was so glad when she took it over. That commission used to make me do it. It was a task.
Well, you know, Commissioner Lee, during the roundtable discussion that we had, some of the commissioners held their own individual person that worked directly for them. And they were asking me, how did one person work for 7 commissioners and then oversee all the departments of this county? Well, my answer was because she's smart.
Yeah,
most
of those commissioners that I'm aware of, I think Jefferson County is a local, an Alabama example is they're full-time commissioners too, and they make big salaries.
Some of us think we are. But
We are all full-time, we just
We just don't
on a
make the big,
part-time
we don't
basis.
make the big salary though.
Yes.
Okay, shall we vote?
Yeah.
Somebody else should call this vote. District 1 Lee?
Yes.
District 2 Pugh?
Yes.
District 3 Martin?
Yes.
District 4 Reed?
Yes.
District 5 L?
Yes?
District 6 Corbett?
yes.
District 7 Scrooge?
Yes.
Unanimous vote. Thank you. May I say something, if you don't mind? I couldn't do this without my staff, Vicki Perry and Carolyn, and I'm only as good as the people that are around me and the commission. And thank you for allowing me to do my job, and I will continue to serve as best as I can and continue to work hard for the department heads and employees, and especially the citizens, because without you, I wouldn't be here. So, thank you.
We thank you.
We thank you for your hard work. We really do.
Next is the jail budget amendment. Sheriff Taylor.
While the sheriff is coming, Sheriff, I want to let you know, I really did brag on my sheriff during those rounds.
Well, I appreciate that very much, and congratulations, Ms. Horn.
Thank you.
We came up here a little while ago with some budget amendments, and the line items that you see in the jail were overlooked. And as I went back and had more budget discussions and preparing this year's budget for you, we realized that there are a few line items that were a little bit short, and so we wanted to go ahead and make that transfer, and you should have the sheet in front of you, but it's from line item 4,000 from 211 into 216, and from 1,000 from 218 into 216, 5,000 from 218 into 250, 1,000 from 218 into 251, 7,000 from 218 into 219, and 3,000 from 304 into 219. These are all within the budget. We're just making some adjustments.
Motion to approve the recommendation.
Is there a second?
Second.
Sheriff, you
Any
gonna put 'em
questions to
on
the-
water and bread?
Yeah. We're about to get there.
Will you call the commission?
District 1 Lee?
Yes.
District 2 Pugh?
Yes.
District 3 Martin?
Yes.
District 4 Reed?
Yes.
District 5 Elks?
Yes.
District 6 Corbett?
Yes.
District 7 Scrooge?
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
Thank you. Next is Public Building Authority appointment.
Madam Chair, at this time, I'd like to offer the name of Mike Davis to fill that position.
Second.
Okay. Motion and a second.
Very good choice.
Yep.
Somebody straighten me out now. Is
That's
it
a good
an
choice.
appointment or is it a vote?
No, we vote on this
Okay.
one.
Okay.
I'm okay with that.
So I move to close nominations then. Do that.
You don't
Second to
close no
close.
nomination.
It's not really a
Well, you're
nomination.
nominating, you have the ability to nominate.
No, you don't close a nomination. All you do
Well,
is
you tell me the
close.
rules then. That's what-
It really is not a nomination, it
You got
was a
that right.
motion to appoint.
Okay, well, go ahead.
On this particular one. I mean, we do them
So I
different.
can't nominate anybody right now.
If you got a nomination, go ahead.
Thank you.
Move on. Do it the way y'all want to do it.
I don't have a problem if you got someone you want.
I don't. Move on. Point of orders, all I'm trying to do, we need to do it the same way every time.
Yeah, we
I'm
just
tired
don't-
of this
we
changing the
don't do
rules
that.
every time. So, move on.
District 1 Lee?
Yes.
District 2 Pugh?
Yes.
District 3 Martin?
Yes.
District 4 Reed?
Yes.
District 5 Elks?
Yes. even though
District,
I'm not a
okay.
person.
District 6 Corbett?
Yes.
District 7 Scrooge?
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
Okay, and that was Mike Davis?
Correct.
Oh, thank you.
I'll get his information to you.
Okay. The E911 board appointment.
Madam Chair, and this again, this is, hadn't got my name by it, but this is my appointment, and this one we don't have to vote on. Yes, I'm gonna, reappoint, Mr. Eddie Seymour.
Okay.
You sure about that?
Yep, that's an individual committee.
No, not about the individual, but we don't have to vote on it.
No.
I'm sure we
Never
will,
have in the
because
past.
If I remember correctly.
But I mean, you know, anything can change at this
Appointed
table, so it
himself,
doesn't
so we
matter.
didn't have to vote on it.
Yeah, Ronnie would've never got on there if we'd had to vote on it.
Right about that.
Well, each commission got their own appointment.
Yeah, I'm not gonna comment on that.
Okay, next is the S&W contracts.
Madam Chair, we've heard from these, and we do it every year, so this has been a long meeting, and they don't even have to come up here and request it, but I'm gonna make a motion that we renew the contract with S&W on our software and hardware.
Hey, Gentry, you gonna include all of them?
That's every one of them.
I'll second it, Madam Chair.
And I,
So we finally got Heath fixing to present, and now we don't even let him present, so, okay.
He's all
Good enough.
dressed up, too. District 1 Lee?
Yes.
District 2 Pugh?
Yes.
District 3 Martin?
Yes.
District 4 Reed?
yes.
District 5 Elks?
Yes.
District 6 Corbett?
Yes.
District 7 Scrooge?
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
So that handles that. The ADM contract remediation of scrap tire site, Mr. Kite.
Good morning.
Good morning.
These are getting to be a little more common, but I wanted to explain it briefly for the benefit of those who may not know. ADM, or the Alabama Department of Environmental Management, has a solid waste remediation fund that provides funds to clean up scrap tire dumps in the state. And we are able to contract with them to do that work in lieu of them having to go out and hire a contractor. They've identified another site located at 15 McKenzie Road. We'll be reimbursed for all of our equipment labor to remove the tires and to have them disposed at the dump. Our estimate is $17,806. So this is a win for all three parties, for the property owner, for the county, and for the state, where they will save money from their fund, having the county do the work. So request your approval of the agreement and the chair to sign.
Okay,
So moved, Madam Chair.
thank you, Commissioner Spears.
I'll second it.
And a second, Commissioner Epps. Will you poll the commission?
District 1 Lee.
Yes.
District 2 Pugh.
Yes.
District 3 Martin.
Yes.
District 4 Reed.
Yes.
District 5 Epps.
Yes.
District 6 Corbett.
Yes.
District 7 Scrooge.
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
Thank you. And you have the other,
Yes, ma'am. Next item we have is a purchase request. It is in our budget, but it exceeds the $7,500 requirement to be approved by the county commission. It is a sign cutter and plotter that will allow us to print our own sign facing material, not have to order those. So we'll save some money, but more importantly, we will save time on the lag time of getting those signs shipped to us. They cost us $12,078.50, and that's from TAPCO, T-A-P-C-O.
So moved, Madam Chair.
is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Epps. Poll the commission.
District 1 Lee.
Yes.
District 2 Pugh.
Yes.
District 3 Martin.
Yes.
District 4 Reed.
Yes.
District 5 Epps.
Yes.
District 6 Corbett.
Yes.
District 7 Scrooge.
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
And you have the projects for ALDOT for A-Trip.
Yes, ma'am. These are three much anticipated projects. We were approved. The A-Trip funding was approved long ago, but we have to go through the lengthy process of getting all of the necessary documents and plans approved. So they're now approved, ready to go out for bid, and we need approval of the funding agreements where the county commits the 20% matching funds to the 80% federal A-Trip funds. The three projects, the first one is project number ACBRZ 59572-ATRP, parentheses 007. That's a bridge replacement on Uchee Hill Highway over Little Uchee Creek Relief. The total project cost is $588,900, and the matching funds are $117,780. I would assume you can approve all three of these together. I'll go ahead and read them.
Okay.
The second project is project number ACBRZ 59573-ATRP, parentheses 007. That's a bridge replacement on Pittsview Highway over Wheelusty Creek. And the total project cost $777,530, and the matching funds $155,506. Third project is project number ACNU 59576-ATRP, parentheses 006. It's a resurfacing of Greenburt Road, which is County Road 39, from Cottonton Road to Oswechee Road. It's a 6.68 mile project. Total cost is $927,110, and the county matching funds are $185,422. I do want to add that these came right within our original estimates at budget. The matching funds have been budgeted, and could be lower, could be higher on the actual bid results and the award, but we've been seeing them come in lower than estimates. So would request the approval of all three agreements and authorize the chair and the county administrator to execute those agreements.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Second, Madam Chair. Thank you. Motion and a second. Hold the commission.
District 1 Lee?
Yes.
District 2 Pugh?
Yes.
District 3 Martin?
Yes.
District 4 Reed?
Yes.
District 5 F?
Yes.
District 6 Corbett?
Yes.
District 7 Scruggs?
Yes.
And next is the Walston Road request for speed limit change. Commissioner Corbett.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On Monday night, I asked the engineer for a recommendation on the speed limit on Walston Road, which is a very short, almost single-lane dirt road in Russell County in the Crawford area. Had a complaint from the citizens in that area that people were driving too fast on the road. There was no posted speed limit, which if you understand that in Alabama, if there's no posted sign, the speed limit reverts to 35. That, in my opinion, and I think in the engineer's opinion, is way too fast for that road anyway. So I asked for a recommendation from the engineer, and I believe that recommendation was 20 miles per hour. Is that
Yes.
correct? That's right. So at this time, I'd like to make a motion that we change the speed limit on Walston Road in Russell County to 20 miles per hour.
Second.
Okay.
District 1 Lee?
Yes.
District 2 Pugh?
No.
District 3 Martin?
Yes.
District 4 Reed?
Yes.
District 5 F?
Yes.
District 6 Corbett?
Yes.
District 7 Scruggs?
Yes.
Motion carries.
I know
Thank
that
you.
we have already carried this motion, but I would like to ask the question, are there children also on that road? Are there children?
I'm not sure. I know there's several families of elderly people that was explained to me, but I don't know if there's children or not. There probably are.
Okay.
There's a good 20 houses probably on that road, so,
All right, thank you.
thank you.
Okay. And I'm sure this is an interesting one here. And it's the Park and Recreation Director appointment.
Madam Chair?
Excuse me?
Go ahead.
I want to thank the committee who met to screen all the applicants, and I appreciate the applicants who applied, the men that did apply. We didn't have any women, but we had men, and they, the candidates all were top-notch, but you know you have to narrow it down, and the commission body had said, bring back 3 top candidates, and that's what the committee did, and I really appreciate David Ellis, and there are others out there on that committee. Thank you for serving. And we will have vote, and as we did Monday night on the interviews, we'll go by alphabetical order.
Madam Chair, we're not going to take nominations, we're just going to vote.
I would like to see us do nominations.
That's the way we've always done it.
You know, all 3 of them could be nominated.
Right.
And then if they vote and no one gets a majority, come back and renominate again.
That's right.
And if we have to go through the process more than 2 times, I would think that on the 3rd try, if we was unable to establish someone, that we would give us the 30-day break and come back
Yeah.
and try it again.
Because legally, and when you do this type of thing, the commission is not limited to these 3 recommendations. I mean, if I wanted to nominate Joe Blow walking down the street, I could do it. But at this time, I asked for the floor. And I'd like to say that after reading resumes, after listening to the interviews, I thought I had my mind pretty well made up. Then I started thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about it, and talked to some people last night and came to the conclusion that we have a county employee that had made the top 3, and we normally try to promote county employees when we can, and this young man had to fill in the last 6 or 7 months, and has really done an excellent job in keeping the commission informed and getting work done and so forth. So at this time, I changed my mind, and I'm going to place the nomination J.C. Monk.
Madam Chairman, this time I'd like to offer up Mr. Denny as my nomination.
Madam Chair, I would like to offer up Mr. Taylor as my nomination.
Well, and that's the top 3 that the committee. I don't know why y'all asked for a committee if we could do it this way.
Madam Chairman.
We could.
Madam Chairman, we need, Madam Chairman.
I move to close nomination.
And I second the
Okay.
motion. Close the nomination, I second.
Okay, we
Madam
have,
Chair, before we vote, it seemed like to me when we did the EMA director, we didn't go through this process.
Yes, we did.
I don't think so, because I was on the committee.
Commissioner, I was the EMA director in 2001,
No,
and
no,
we
not
absolutely
you.
did.
No, when we
I
had
interviewed
Bob,
right there.
we did, because we took votes, and unfortunately, I didn't vote for Bob. I didn't- I didn't vote against him, but I voted for somebody else.
That's exactly the point that I made earlier in this meeting, that we need to have some rules, and we need to stick to the same rules every time, because we are just deciding at the table what we want to do best, and we need to stick to those rules. Madam Chair, can I have discussion real quick? I think I owe this to my constituents, the people in my district, and the people in the audience as well. And also, again, I think, so appreciate the committee that formed up. I think this process, in my opinion, went better than anyone I've ever seen. And I've already had people texting me, telling me how good the process went. So I think it was a tribute to the county commission and the citizens as a whole. I've lost a lot of sleep over what I'm fixing to say, and I think I've just got to say it for my constituents and even for this commission as well. I've had a lot of searching I had to do with this, but one of the finalists that came to the table, years ago, his father married into my wife's family. Therefore, even though I've known this finalist 8 years prior to that, I've known him longer than I've known my wife even. I think this is a very important decision, a very important position in this county. You all at this table know how I feel about Parks and Rec and how I think it should be pushed that way. I did check with ethics and was cleared on being able to make a decision like this. However, there was some gray areas there that I absolutely do not feel that I want to step off into. Perception goes into a lot of that decision as well. I know as a citizen, if I'm sitting here and I hear that so-and-so promoted a family member or whatever, that perception is tainted as well, and I think I owe it to everyone. But at this point, I think you have 3 good candidates. I was very impressed with all 3 interviews. I think they did a great job. I applaud the chair for holding the structure together and putting us through this task. I think it went very well. My kids play in these facilities. I played in the Ladonia facility growing up. But at this time, because of that perception and because of a very hard decision I've had to make, I'm going to recuse myself from the process until a candidate's chosen.
Or if that person is eliminated, then you can come back in.
I can, but I chose to recuse at this point. I
Madam
don't
Chair.
want to influence it at all.
Madam Chair, I would like to first apologize to the candidates for not being here on Monday evening, but I did read all your applications, and as it has been stated, you're all great candidates. But I just didn't stay away because I didn't want to be here, but I had other obligations and I was out of town. But I would like to I do appreciate every person that applied for this job or this position, even though Madam Chair said we didn't have not one woman applying for this job. I should apply it myself, make sure that we get one woman in. But I also would like to thank the committee for bringing back good candidates. I'm sure there was others. And when you're doing this and you're trying to do what is best for this county, someone may be disappointed and someone may not be disappointed. But my job is not to put politics into business. And this is going to be a business decision and not a political decision. And I hope we as commissioners realize that we are politicians, but when it comes to business, we have to take care of the business of the county. I would like to thank the committee again for the job well done, Mr. Dave, and I would like to thank the candidates for taking the time to really fill out an application, taking the time to come for an interview, and take the time to come back to see whether or not these 7 commissioners up here going to make the right decision for you. Thank you all so much.
Madam Chair, would you
Yes.
take them in reverse order? And what we do is do by show of hands instead of roll call.
Right.
In reverse order?
Yes, ma'am, that's what we've been doing. Makes no difference, that who gets 4 votes, who gets it, it's over with.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay.
In reverse order then,
If you'll call each
Right.
candidate's name, so we'll know exactly who we're.
okay. Mr. Taylor. Show of hands, please.
Mr. Taylor?
Yeah, those in favor, raise your hand for Mr. Taylor.
Okay.
That's what she's asking.
Okay,
Let the record show 3.
all right. Mr. Monk.
Let the record show 2.
And then Mr. Denny.
Let the record show 1. Now, I'll ask that we open it up for nominations again and see if we can eliminate one of these people.
Okay,
Madam Chair, I nominate Mr. Taylor.
okay.
I think you're gonna have to, I don't know that, you've had 3 nominations, one's been eliminated, so you got 2 left.
Right.
So
Who's the 2?
opening up the nominations will not be in order.
Mr. Monk and Mr. Taylor.
Mr. Funderburk, run that by us again.
You have 3 nominations, one's been
Well,
eliminated.
Wait a minute, let the county
The only
attorney.
person there, I was not gonna nominate again, so I would've taken myself out of that process.
Nomination again will not be in order.
Well,
So
Mr.
we need to just vote on the 2.
Yeah,
You've got
that's-
2 left.
Well, that's just what Mr. Lee just said.
Yeah,
Vote on
Well,
these,
somebody mentioned a nomination.
we don't need to do
He's
nominations.
saying that one's been eliminated, so we got 2 to come back and vote on.
And if we can't make a decision on those, then you have to open up the nominations,
Right.
maybe the next meeting.
So do we motion to close the
Right.
nomination?
No, you've already,
You already did.
it's already done that by
It's
nominating 3.
it's already been,
one's
the
eliminated.
process is set right now. You got 2 candidates, Mr. Monk and Mr. Henry.
Mr.
Taylor.
Mr. Taylor.
Henry, I thought it was
Taylor
Willie,
and
Willie,
Monk.
Henry Taylor.
Okay, well, Mr. Taylor, raise your hand.
Reverse order.
Yeah,
Mr. Taylor?
Okay.
3.
Okay, he has 3. And Mr. Monk.
3.
So now you got a tie. So now, we can vote one more time,
To see if anybody
and if
wants
we're
to
still
change.
deadlocked, I'll ask that we give it a 30-day period, come back again. That's what I'm asking. So, I mean, that's up to this commission to decide if they want to continue the process for an hour or 30 seconds.
Clarify whether Mr. Corbett, since his abstention was conditional, whether he wants to
Do
vote.
you want to vote? Because if it's still a tie.
Do I want to? I absolutely do. I feel like I can,
Yeah.
so I'm still recused.
But you can vote one more time, and if it still ends up a tie, then it comes back at another meeting.
Okay, do you still want to go in reverse order?
I want to go one more time, yes, ma'am.
Mr. Taylor.
Got 4 votes,
Got it.
that's it.
That's it. Yeah, okay. You wouldn't count? I didn't look. Okay. It's over.
Okay.
Congratulations, Mr. Taylor.
Okay, Madam Administrator, you have the next.
Well, Madam Chair, I believe, since Mr. Taylor has been selected, there is a little bit of housekeeping I'd like to mention to the commission, if you would allow. Number 1, it would be a salary that we would need to discuss, as well as either allowing me to meet with Mr. Taylor on, I know he has a relocation time period and starting date that we would need to discuss, but I would probably need your authority to do that.
I would say that this time I'd offer a motion to allow you to negotiate, come back, and bring us a contract that either we could vote up or down.
Right.
I second it.
If we start hashing that out.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor, and a second.
I second it.
For the administrator to get with Mr. Taylor. So, will you poll the commission?
District 1, Lee.
Yes.
District 2, Pugh.
Yes.
District 3, Martin.
Yes.
District 4, Reeves.
Yes.
District 5, Elks.
Yes.
District 6, Corbett.
Yeah.
District 7, Scruggs.
Yes.
Unanimous vote. Thank you. And I'll get with Mr. Taylor.
Okay. Shall we move on, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay. Did you have anything else?
No, I just knew at this point I needed authority to work with him.
Right. Okay, Mr. Attorney, you're next.
If y'all have a copy of the contract, all the corrections have been made. So I recommend that you approve that contract and allow me to submit that to the city attorney for their approval, and that we, as part of this approval, the chairman should be able to sign it, but I'd recommend that she not sign it until we know it's been approved, and then we could have if the other party agrees, we can have a signing here, so you'll be fully aware.
Madam Chairman, I would like to approve the contract, but I would like it submitted to the committee with whom we dealt, which is the Phoenix City Museum Committee. And if they wanna go back and that's who's funding their money, it'll get back to them. But if their attorney if they have questions and it's legal, I would like for him to be involved in answering any questions as far as our position.
All right, so you want me to submit it to the committee?
Committee, that's who we
That's who we dealt with.
Well, I only mentioned that because originally,
But now, the committee's attorney is the city attorney.
So, I mean.
Yeah, right.
And Tillman, would you, I mean, I know that the attorney said it need to come back, but if they accepted it as is, then the sheriff can sign it. I mean,
We've already approved it.
if
Just
there's
for-
no changes, now, if there's one change, then it needs to come back.
That's correct.
Well, I'd only bring it back just so you know it's been, so 6 months from now, it's not shown up or shows up somewhere and they approved it. I'd rather y'all know.
Well, it could be announced. I mean, how many contracts you ever submitted, Mr. Thunderbird, that there wasn't at least one change?
Well, none, actually.
That's right. So it will come back.
But I will, I just want y'all to know, let's say they do agree with it, I just want to make sure you know that you will be notified, so it won't happen in secret, in other words.
That's great. That's fine.
Madam Chairman?
I'm-
Yeah, just call for the vote. I think we should,
Just
I think
vote.
everybody satisfied, everything.
Okay, all the commission?
Who's second?
Who second? Nobody second, that's second.
Yeah, it's been second.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. District 1 Lee?
Yes.
District 2 Pitts?
Yes.
District 3 Martin?
Yes.
District 4 Reed?
Yes.
District 5 L?
Yes.
District 6 Corbett?
Yes.
7 Scrooge?
Yes.
Okay, I think what's left now is announcements. Miss Jennifer, I want to put a plug in there for the marketplace behind the Central Activity Center. That's every Wednesday morning from 7:30 to 12. Please patronize the marketplace for fresh vegetables. And then we have Backyard Tomato Shop. That will be Thursday, July 30th, from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Extension office. And then you have another one is it ongoing?
Yes, so we can still take, some places that are people interested.
And that's the canning and preparation. Thank you, and we appreciate y'all's effort to our constituents, to all of us. Do we have any other announcements?
Yes, I have an announcement, and this is for everybody. The NAACP fundraising banquet will be held on August the 14th at the Pine Hill Missionary Baptist Church Annex. And the tickets are only $30. Now, if you have someone 18 and under, you can get those tickets for only $15. The speaker, the time is 7 o'clock, and the speaker will be the NAACP National President Director, which is Mr. DeBoer. I have some tickets, only $30.
Thank you. Hearing no other business, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
We are adjourned.
Alrighty. Interesting.